From deep in the Burbank Media District, it's time for another edition of My Burbank Talks, presented by the staff of My Burbank. Now, let's see what's on today's agenda as we join our program.
Hello, Burbank. Craig Sherwood here with you once again, along with, in the studio, Craig Durling.
Hey, everybody. Good to be back.
And today on remote, it's Ross Benson.
From his mansion.
Howdy-ho, Roger. For you that are listening.
Are you in your Florida Kingpin mansion today?
I don't know, but I just noticed that the cleaning lady didn't get to the top step.
Neither did you.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't get too far out of the driveway.
Well, it looks like so far we've all survived the storm of 2024 at this point.
Stormwatch 2024.
Burbank, in all honesty, did not get hit very hard. We got around, I'd say, 4.5 inches here, compared to, I know Woodland Hills got over 10 inches. So somehow it's just that those cells just happened to go a little bit north of us. So we didn't get hit as hard as it could have been.
Yeah, I was looking at the maps earlier today, and midday, downtown LA had like 6.5 inches. Malibu had like 7.5 inches. Burbank had about 2.
Yeah.
So it's all over the board.
So
yeah, but see, you guys are on the flatlands. You're literally way out there.
Media district adjacent.
Yeah, right. Living up here on the hill.
Well, that's right. Down the hill now. Yes, you
rains
snob.
a lot more up here.
Are you on Snob Hill now? Is that where you're at?
Well, Ross is he's just over the hill.
Just over the
hill.
But
let me share with you. You know, I cover the desk all night, and last night nothing landed at Burbank from about 12:30 till 6 this morning. When the heavy UPS plane wanted to come in, they couldn't land their first time. They had to go back to Southern California control and ask, can we try it again? There were wind gusts at the time. And the pilot even said, I need to check with the company on some things before we attempt it again. And I watched him land real slowly. He came in and he was the only plane that landed. Burbank canceled 63 flights yesterday because of the weather.
Wow. Well, and LAX was on reverse ops yesterday too, which was kind of fun to watch.
And that, yeah,
with Air Force One taking off, it was a different view.
I actually watched the live stream of LAX and watched it land and take off.
Yeah,
and kind of interesting. And you know, I found it interesting when it took off. Actually, when it landed too. The very bottom of the plane has a very silver metallic feature to it.
It's got that collar on it.
Yeah, it's like I wonder if that has something to do with radar bouncing or something, or somehow it can't get tracked or something, or I'm sure
there's all kinds of stuff with magic stuff with that plane.
Everything on that plane is there for a reason,
right? Yeah, well, and they're still building the 2 new ones that President Trump designed.
One thing I thought, and I guess I'm wrong about, is that I thought Air Force One had always had a fighter escort, but nothing.
Nope.
And I also looked on the flight tracking, and you can't.
But they can scramble and get to it quick enough.
I couldn't find Air Force One on the flight tracker either. It was not
weird.
It's a ghost on there.
Well, it is a military aircraft, so I don't know if that would be the reason.
Well, last week with the Ospreys being down, they're flying the Sikorsky.
Yeah, 3 of those. Yeah.
They had 5
from the Marines.
From the Marines, and everybody sees them flying over Burbank and say, "Oh!" In fact, I put a tweet out. The POTUS isn't in any of those. That is his entourage, or meaning his press corps, his office staff, his Secret Service. That's what goes between Burbank and Santa Monica.
Yeah.
But a friend of mine sent me a picture on the runway of 6 of them lined up, and one of them parked in front, and it's just
I have pictures from a year or 2 ago. We're standing at the end of 15 with HMX taking off right over our heads. It was cool. 2 of the Sea Stallions, and then 3 of the.
Well, I also saw there's only 2 of the Marine ones. They usually have 3.
No, there's standard is 2 plus 3 support. So if it's whether it's the Ospreys,
that's when you look out left for LAX. If they had 3 Osprey or 3 of the military choppers, and they had 2 of the Marine ones, and I thought they had 3 because the reason they have more than one is it becomes a 1 in 3 chance of shooting him down.
It could be mission specific, depending on where they're going.
Yeah, I didn't know where he was in town for. I never checked that out.
Well, he was in. I know he was in Vegas today for a fundraiser, in and out. So I'm sure he was here for a fundraiser.
Well,
That's the only reason they come here.
Yeah, they come to California for the money, for the campaigns,
They
and
go
they
straight to Beverly Hills,
and they spend
Saturday.
They spend in other states.
He came here Saturday to speak because the Grammys being yesterday, he wanted to speak to the black group that has, quite a bit involved in the Grammys, to talk to them about pushing out the go out and vote through the music world. And that was his main point. He was not at the Grammys. As I know, my son was there.
In all honesty,
but then he flew off to Las Vegas.
In all honesty, he should have made an appearance at the Grammys because I'm sure that would really help him with that entire demographic.
But to be honest, if you've seen him lately, they got to control his environment.
Yeah,
they got to keep it. They can't have him.
Yeah.
Ad-libbing or in a crowd. They really have to control where they put him now. It's sad, but he's not doing the classic traditional presidential Super Bowl interview.
Oh, he's not.
Yeah, I heard that today.
Wow.
And talk about getting an audience, but
isn't he doing something?
They might be doing something pre-taped or him saying something, but I heard today that he's not doing that.
Maybe a tour around the White House or something.
Traditional interview. So they'll probably pre-tape something.
Maybe a tour around the White House or something.
Well, they should do that doggy bowl in the Oval Office. Where the little dogs.
Yeah, the puppy bowl.
Yeah, the puppy
it's adorable.
bowl.
Animal Planet. Same time the Super Bowl's on. Animal Planet has the puppy bowl.
Yep.
Right. Well, they should do it in the Library of Congress or, that big conference room, which I have pictures of some performers standing on that desk.
Can we please keep some decorum in Washington, D.C.?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Some dignity, please.
Well, should we move on a little bit here?
How about we start? There's no moving on. We haven't started.
Well, let's start with last week's winner.
Last week's
winner of a Hill Street Cafe gift card.
Ooh, word of the week winner.
$25. It went to, are you ready?
Da-da-da-da.
Oh, yeah. Craig, continue to do that because I can't hear that part.
Okay. I'll be your eyes.
Okay.
Your ears.
Steve Austin. Yeah, that's right. Steve Austin.
Steve Austin.
You were I wonder if that's in relation to the wrestler.
The wrestler or the Bionic guy.
Oh.
There's another Steve Austin?
You would think it was a common name?
I don't know. I've heard of the city before, and Steve's a fairly.
Can you imagine being named Steve Austin and going through life with that name, and people look at you like, although you try to get reservations at a restaurant.
Right, now we're talking, well, now he's going to Hill Street.
Yes, he is.
No reservations needed.
Well, Steve, send us your address to winners@myburbank.com, and we will send that $25 gift card to Hill Street Cafe out to you forthwith.
Excellent. Enjoy some of that homemade salad dressing and soup and all that. This is good weather for it, too.
Don't
good
forget
weather.
To share that, Steve, don't forget to share that on your social media. I know your fan group would love to see that.
And tell them who sent you.
Well,
that's it. Now, but
we will have
the second half of that is now everybody out there has to listen up for the rest of the show to hear this week's word of the week.
There will be a new word.
The same chance.
Somewhere in our show.
Somewhere in our show. Listen for the word of the week, and we'll give you further instructions at that time.
Well, let's go back to last week because it was the week that was.
'Twas indeed.
So last Tuesday we had a council meeting. They approved the adult development agreement for another 3 years for the property that Jeff Worthe owns that used to one time be a golf course and is now a
driving range. That was not a full golf
course. Golf course. It was a driving range.
Where was this?
It's just
2900 West Alameda.
For those of us who don't know,
Alameda and Hollywood and Bob Hope.
It was just to the north of Bob Hope of Johnny Carson Park.
Okay, is that where?
That's where the
KCET is there now.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's
gotcha.
And
when he developed that building, he owned all that property, and he put up that building, what we call the park building. That's how they identify it. And he built the foundation for another building matching that. that he was going to do in phase 2. Well, he always said that he wouldn't build the second building until he had occupancy, like 90% occupancy in the park building. And then Warner Brothers decided to do their iceberg buildings, their 21st century buildings.
The ones along the
So,
134.
right. So the designer of that building, he had them redesign another building that'll go next to the park building. And that's what they extended the development agreement for.
Well, I thought it was very nice that Jeff Worthe himself came and addressed the council about it. You know, usually these developers always send their, first head flunky or something, and they don't want to be wasted with it, but he showed up himself to answer looked like a very down to earth person and concerned about the community. So he also said that they've been remodeling the former Dalt's restaurant. It used to be in the bottom of the building at Olive and Riverside. Then it became.
They had great malts there.
Oh,
great malts.
I'm sorry to see Dalt's go. Anyhow,
yeah.
they've been remodeling that, and he says there's a steakhouse coming in called the Capitol Grill, which is will be a nice steak restaurant. Although we do have Morton's and we do have the Smokehouse, but
we got plenty.
But there's no.
I missed Dalt's.
But everybody enjoys a steak, so.
The reason he does that is he also said you have to do amenities now for these new buildings going in to keep the employees there for lunch. So if you wanted to go to
but I wonder how many employees can afford a nice steakhouse.
Well, is Kiss FM still in that building?
Yes.
Kiss FM and some other stations used to be in that building.
I thought so too. I think a lot of them moved over to the building at Naomi and Olive. I know that's where the sports is now. 710.
Oh, Craig Durling is thinking of the building across from Whole Foods. I don't think you pass Whole Foods that much, but
no, Kiss FM used to be in the Dalt's building. Used to see it on the
right, and now and Craig, when you say you don't think some of those people can afford it, we're talking DJs, we're talking producers. That was his intent in putting those buildings there.
It's a high rent building.
Do you know how much they pay radio people lately, though? They're kind of like journalists and newspapers, barely hanging on.
All right, we're getting into a rat hole.
Anyhow,
do you have a sound effect for a rat hole?
Yes, I do. One size fits all for them. They also the single-use plastic ordinance. They made some changes to it. We're going to have a list of all the changes and what the ordinance basically says. I asked some of the city people, and they said, so much went on. We're still trying to figure it out right now and get exactly what they wanted. So when the ordinance comes back for the second reading and to get passed, they'll have a better handle on everything. So the next council meeting, we'll talk more about that ordinance then and about what they did pass. I think they took out the 31-seat restaurant thing, and they're going to make it all restaurants. And
oh, geez,
there's a lot to it.
It's getting worse.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys, I feel sorry. I do. Betty Porto called me. We all know Betty Porto from Porto's. Think about it. They serve 15,000 people a day. Think about it. You change an ordinance like this and make them put in some of this recyclables when you can go 3 blocks or 2 blocks and go to Target or Vons, go in and buy from the deli, and they don't have to do this for another couple of years. She told me they ordered their stuff from China.
Do you think
if they ship half of the order?
I've never seen anybody stand in line to go into Vons.
Does this also mean that Vons, supermarkets, Target, Walmart won't be able to sell plastic forks and spoons and stuff anymore?
No, and that's a good point. That's a good point. They can still sell them. They just can't use them.
So what if a restaurant includes that plasticware in the price and says that they're selling it with the meal? Loophole.
Oh, I'm sure there's be a lot of loopholes.
Loophole.
Yeah, and some of these small shops, and what about catering trucks that roll into town? they got to qualify. They have to meet the same. They're making these.
Well, I'm sure
You
that,
definitely know by who was reporting at council. She's never worked at a restaurant.
I think what she has is ideals for the future, and we've got to start somewhere, and not realizing, they say the big picture, and what it's like to really be in business, and I understand that
Well,
too.
then start chipping away at it.
Yeah.
Don't throw the
Well,
baby out with the
But
bathwater.
some of
Here.
the stuff is going to become state laws.
Baby steps.
Some of the stuff is going to be state laws. They say within a year or two anyway.
Right, because the state is as bad as the local governments and the federal government as they make all these mandates, and the infrastructure and the users aren't ready for it. So they just force feeding all this stuff, and nobody's ready for
I'll
it.
give you a good example of that. Remember years ago they passed the recycling thing where all restaurants had to, or all stores had to take back. They give a 5-cent deposit or 10-cent deposit and everything, and then all stores must then take back the cans and bottles. And then suddenly less and less and less and less, and now I think there's only 1 or 2 places in Burbank that actually accept. Where before the rule was if you sold it, you had to take the returns also, and somehow they got a loophole to stop having to take the returns. So
Somebody's always going to figure out a way around
Yes.
a regulation or something.
or the one out of Proposition 65 that says you must have a warning if there's any kind of cancerous things, and then they stick the sign somewhere
Right.
around a corner or something, and somewhere where you can't really see it, and
If you notice, if anybody uses eBay out there, sells anything on eBay, that's a box to check. Is if you going to need to include the Prop 65 warning in
really?
your auction. Yeah,
I sell a lot on eBay. I never even knew that was on there.
yeah, it's in there.
Oh, there you go. They also passed
Don't worry, Craig. They won't come look for you because they know you're media district adjacent, and they have no clue where the adjacent is.
I'm sure most people know where the media.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah. The human trafficking ordinance passed.
Good.
Rossi, why don't you talk about Zanta taking the lead on that?
Well, the city attorney is the one that made the presentation at council, and they've done their homework on it. This is long overdue. People don't realize just 2 weeks ago, there was a sting operation, and they picked up over 5,000 violators through the state, and they need help. You're not going to see a city attorney going out to businesses. So Zanta, who has been pushing the ordinance for a while, they had you remember an event last week. They did a walk a couple weeks ago that we covered. They have offered to be the boots on the ground. And I applaud Zanta.
We just during our event,
Salas.
and we just had a story come out today on the ordinance that was passed. So nice job by
Gloria Salas has been very vocal on that, and she has offered the city. We have plenty of people to help get the word out, and that means passing out posters and signage and so forth.
Ross, you have any information on what the Zanta Club is?
Just
Zanta,
for some context.
Yeah, Zanta has been around for many, many years. It's a fellowship of women and now others that many things involving women to what's the word I'm looking for? Make women
Empower.
Pardon me?
Empower.
Yep. You have quite a few newer. I know some of the nonprofits. In fact, I think all the nonprofits are part of Zanta, and some new companies in town that are run by women. So it's and some of their causes are very worthwhile, and they have a lot of support. Like I said, I know our local Gloria Salas has the aid of many people when she puts out a phone call for something. And
well, now what's one of my big gripes with the city council that I have all the time?
Too many meetings on one night, none on another.
Yes,
I was going to say a lot of
the meetings that go way too late.
Did I get it?
Yes,
and going too late.
So here's what they did. Once again, too many things on the agenda. It's around 11:30 at night. They hadn't gotten to trafficking yet, and they decided that they would pull the landlord-tenant stuff off the agenda. Now, there are rules now that you can't, if you want to speak about an item, you can't speak during oral communications and then be able to speak again when the item comes up. So a lot of people, I'm sure stayed
until 11:30 when they made this announcement.
11:30, they decided,
People have been there for
we're running
hours.
late tonight, so they were there 5-6 hours waiting. And then they said, well,
I talked to two people that were sitting in that audience that could have left.
Right.
And it's just,
so inconsiderate.
And how many people were at home who wanted to call in or something? Be able to, I mean, it's just one of those things that why not have extra meetings if you're going to have that long of those long of a meetings? They said, well, it went long because of this or that. Well, you got to figure that the plastics ordinance was a big deal, and that's going to take time. Some of the other things take time I get it. So instead of 2 meetings a month, why not have 2 meetings, maybe sometimes once in a while, 3 meetings a month?
And spoiler alert, City Council's dark next week.
Yeah, and there's no meeting. Tomorrow, but there is,
this week, I guess.
Yes, they pushed that back, and of course, Landlord-Tenant Commission met today, but now nothing could be said that, they had a special ad hoc committee about it's just really a shame. The mayor actually wanted to, and like he said, and he goes, look at it, I'm here to do a job, I'm here to stay as long as I need to stay, which I commend, but even so if they did get to it, now it's going to be 2-3 in the morning. I go, have an extra meeting.
Do we know why they're dark this week?
Because it's not scheduled to have a meeting.
They in January,
who are they working for? Who are they there to?
In January, they sit down and talk about their goals and plans. The city manager is the one that makes the schedule for city council.
Well, they didn't sit down for goals this year, though. That's every 2 years they do that.
Well, they came up with a calendar for meetings because if you recall,
the city manager
the mayor at his show told us that he was going to say something, but again, it's weird how they make presentations and why they're dark or dormant or asleep. But a lot of people don't realize all those city staffers, there's a lot sitting in the audience that people don't see. Besides your department heads, you have city staffers that have to be at a staff meeting at 10 a.m. on Wednesday. No ifs, ands, or buts. After a council meeting, they get off at 1, 2 in the morning. They got to be back chipper as a
That's understandable, but what on the agenda is making these meetings run so long? Is it one item? Is it public comments? Is it something that they can move on?
You want to know the truth, Craig?
Yeah.
Every council member needs to give their opinion.
Oh, that's their own fault then.
They want to hear. I love all of our council members, but I got to say, sometimes they like to hear themselves talk.
Right? How many times did you hear, well, I agree with what he said or what she said, and I want to also say that
here's my version of it.
Yeah, it's the same thing. But it's just, like I say, if there are major things coming up, then have an extra meeting.
Especially if you're going to table something because you don't want to run too late tonight. Well, guess what? Then we're having a meeting next week. And I know it's probably not that easy to do, but
at least table in the beginning. Then those people would probably still be upset that they came for no reason, but they would have sat for 5 hours and then left for no reason. That was just to me that's unprofessional. It's just not a good way to run your city.
And Craig, did you read the city manager notes on the tenant landlord commission from a couple weeks ago? 2 people were there in public to bring something up, and 1 they answered an email. What, like you said, the landlord tenant commission has 0 power, and their meeting, it just kind of gets me. I feel sorry for those people that are getting evicted.
It's a place to go gripe, but there's no results can come from it. So I don't know what the.
So it's a feel-good commission.
Yeah.
Make you feel better.
Well, let's move on to Wednesday. Burbank announced that their 311 app now has code enforcement and real-time bus times on there too. So now if you want to tell on your neighbor, you don't like your neighbor, and your neighbor does something you don't like, you can
your sprinklers are on.
Yeah, go code enforcement and say and tell on your neighbor, which I think that's the only reason that's on there is so you can tell on people?
Well, no. Come on. That's not true. There are a lot of things that people see driving around our community that do not meet the Burbank Municipal Code. And who goes out and takes care of those? They don't want people calling 911 or the police desk. They want code enforcement.
Right, but
And
everything
that's
code
why.
enforcement is for negative things. Code enforcement does not, you don't contact code enforcement for positive things.
I have a question. And Ross, I've asked you this before because it's come up, but do they have a way to report illegally parked vehicles on the 311 app yet?
I believe there is. But Burbank on Burbank's 311.
Right, on the
Different
Burbank
than
301. Last time I checked, I had some
Oh,
issues
yeah.
on my street. I found no option to submit an illegally parked vehicle.
And I think just last week when I went to install it or update it, I saw that other city of importance that you could now put in.
Who's administering that and going to send it to the right person? Do you know?
I believe that all of those go to Public Works, and then they divvy it up if it has to go to PD or to the different departments.
Okay. Well, honestly, I haven't looked at the app since, so it's been a few months since I was in there, so I didn't know if this new update included that specifically.
And like I said, the update also includes a real-time Burbank limousine service. I mean, Burbank bus service. The reason I call it limousine service is because you ride a Burbank bus, you would probably be the only one on it, so treat it like a limousine.
It's a carryover from the pandemic.
Yes, it
Who's
is.
keeping?
You have to be one
Who's-
bus apart. Everyone has to be one bus apart.
Yes.
I want to know who's keeping tally tonight on Craig's piss pot.
Well, I'm so far I'm sounding like the curmudgeon in the group.
Well, I
but now you get the two of us alone in a room because you're not here to play referee,
You know,
Ross.
if you want, I can sugarcoat everything and say, you know what? Hey, what a great job.
No,
Burbank
none of us
bus.
need any more sugar.
Yeah, I can sugarcoat everything, and then, I think we need to question.
We have opinions. I'm sure
Yeah.
everybody listening has an opinions about all this stuff too. So maybe they agree with us, maybe they disagree with us. But let us know what you think. Shoot us an email.
Yeah, just an email. I will take the criticism.
And
Absolutely.
if you want, we'll read your emails next week in the show.
Yep. Thursday, City Manager Justin Hess appointed the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer, Joseph. I was thinking you say Lilio, Lillio. I think it's Lilio. Would that sound like a right pronunciation?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
And he will be the acting water and power head until a national search firm finds new candidates. Now, I don't know if he's
pretty big spot.
I don't know if he put his hat in for the permanent job, but he was the CFO. So I mean, he does know the utility, he knows what he's doing, and so at least we have somebody
well, it's funny,
in charge.
Craig. We got that email today about social media. They have a new person handling their social media presence, but that's somebody different than their PR person.
Like the flavor of the month.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of turnover there, and it's unfortunate. But our power and our lights stay on.
That's true.
That's right.
But if we ever can find a map that says what's not working right, that'd be nice.
Did you not get my?
Well,
email
I could fill a map with what's not going right here.
Yes, that's true.
You did not get the email that I sent to them after this weekend's power outages.
All I said it'd be nice if they had a map that worked. And they still
Their reply was they have
They're-
new software that they are working the bugs out of.
Yes.
And I just looked at LA's. LA is amazing. They can take it down to a block. So I don't know what money they paid for in LA, but it'd be nice that Burbank puts it back up.
Well, we will see. I'll let you stay on that.
Does Vector Control still handle infestation? They have a lot of
Yes.
bugs to get out of the system.
Yep.
Also on Friday,
Waka waka.
on Friday, I shouldn't say also on Friday because
It's the only thing on Friday.
yes, on Friday it kind of got put in the wrong position here, but Burbank PD christened 2 new jailers.
No, jailer. What do we?
A new jailer and a custody class. Well, I'm not. You know what, Ross? You went to
You
it.
did it. Is it the same person? Is this
Yeah.
one person?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
Just a really long title.
Yeah, Ross, you went to it. I'll let you talk all about it.
Well, because of the rain, they changed the location. They expected rain, and they moved it to East LA College in their auditorium. I think there were 19 different graduates, mostly from the sheriff's department, and I believe there were 6 from outside agencies, including Burbank, who had one student, one class, Alejandro Sandoval, and it was nice to when they were making presentations. He was he had served prior military, and he also was given one of the things that they hand out are class points, physical agility, and all those things. He placed in one of those. So, and I was told we have a couple more jailers, I believe 3, going in the academy for the class. This class is only, I think, 9 weeks, not like the officers.
So if you find yourself in the Burbank Poke anytime soon, say hi to Alejandro.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Welcome him aboard.
On the weekend, we had a dig event at Drawson Center that went off on Saturday morning. And believe it or not, my Burbank Center reporter out there. And we will have a story.
You're kidding.
Later this week on the dig program and the volunteers. You know what? I saw the pictures. Number of people out there.
Really? Digging?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean,
So they dug.
They brought their hose with them.
Sorry, I started laughing before my adult brain caught up with
There
the
we
joke.
go. There we go.
Well, they've cut so
yeah.
many groundskeepers. They need some, citizens like to volunteer. They really are committed to the city. And I'll tell you, going to Verdugo Park Aquatic Center every week, there's a lot of greenery that just, gets watered, keeps growing and growing. So I understand the dig program. Hell, I don't do weeds in my own.
And of course,
yard
what
yet.
dig stands for? Absolutely nothing. It just, for some reason, they want to
It
capitalize.
is the actual act of scooping.
Right. All I had to do is just not capitalize the ing, and everyone's been fine with it.
That's what has thrown me since the beginning,
Yes.
trying to figure out what the letters stood for. But
And I did ask the city, and they said,
Anyway.
no, it doesn't stand for anything except for
So-
dig.
it's just digging, just the act of scooping things out of something
Yes.
else.
That's it.
So other than that, a quiet weekend we
Yep.
had. All right.
Oh, yeah. So let's take a quick break for our word from hopefully one of our sponsors one of these days.
We'll all find out at the same time.
Enjoying the show right now? Thinking you may want to do your own podcast? Burbank Talks is renting out our podcast studio on an hourly rate. You can do audio podcasts
for the
or both
noise.
audio and video, and even bring in guests to talk with. We will help you get set up on podcast platforms and start a YouTube channel, and we can edit your productions to make you look and sound your very best. If you are interested, please drop us an email at studiorentals@myburbank.com. That's studiorentals@myburbank.com, and we will get back to you. Now, back to our show.
Hey again, everybody. Craig Sherwood here with you, along with Craig Durling.
Still here.
And, of course, on remote this week, on assignment, not assignment,
From
but
his foyer.
remote assignment is Ross Benson.
Hi there.
For a second there, listening to that ad, I thought for a second he said, "We will make you look unsound." I'm like, well, that's not a great selling point.
No, we don't want to get
But he said, "Look and sound."
Ah,
I misheard.
well, Mr. AI sometimes is a little bit, what can I tell you?
He's trying to take my gig. That guy.
On Monday,
Monday the 5th.
Monday the 5th,
Today.
being today, of course. Yeah, I used to write today on here. Now
It is today, February 5th.
It is all day and half of tonight. Now, after last week with very little meetings, now we have this week a ton of meetings. So today we had the Burbank Cultural Arts Commission, the Beautification Subcommittee that met at 10 a.m. in the Community Services Building, and they were going to talk about Phase 8 of the Utility Box Beautification Program and how to recognize the artists and sponsors of Phase 7. I think my Burbank was in Phase 4. Is that correct, Ross?
I think about then.
Yeah, we have our box that we sponsored over at Magnolia and Hollywood Way. So
Very nice. I like that program. I like the.
Yeah, it's because those boxes when they're just gray or
they're painting art on. They're trying to beautify the utility boxes at intersections.
Yeah, they're gray or like puke green or something, and just now they look.
I dig it. I dig it.
Years ago, Mr. Durling, before I think you relocated to the fine city of Burbank, they used to have a contest to paint fire hydrants, and they found after several years, it's easy to lose them when they're painted the same color as a background.
And if you don't know what they look like.
And I heard a lot of dogs complain too. They couldn't find that fire hydrant anymore. So anyhow,
there's a rim shot somewhere there.
Well, of course there is. Arts and Public Places meeting has been canceled. So I guess they're not talking about any with the airport.
Too much art in one night. Is that what's going on?
I guess so. The Landlord Tenant Commission met at 6:15, the Community Services Building, for who knows what. And
too early to tell.
Yeah, probably just to console people. That's about all I can do.
At the time of recording, we had not heard about what they talked about.
Nor will we, because they don't record the meetings.
Oh, no, okay. And we're recording this show on the night of that meeting.
Yes, we are. Tomorrow night, once again, the Burbank Cultural Arts Commission.
More arts.
Once again gets together. This time, the Community Engagement Subcommittee. And they will meet at 10 a.m. at the Community Services Building. And the standing subcommittee, they'll discuss ideas and plannings for the subcommittee. So they'll discuss plans for how they communicate and how they engage the community. The Burbank Audit Committee. Now, I'm not. There's a committee that is probably.
It's a lot of committees.
Yeah, but that's also probably a committee that if you ever.
Who are they going to audit? Audit the city?
Yeah.
Or audit committees?
If you want to get a little extra sleep, go in there and listen to that meeting for a while.
Is that a public meeting? Is the public?
Yes, it is. Now, I mean, at 11 a.m. the Community Services Building.
Well, there's big conference rooms and little ones. I didn't know the public could sit in on that one. I've never heard anybody say, "Oh, meet me at the audit committee."
I don't think they also meet every month either. I think they meet every.
All the cool kids are doing it.
I think they meet every 3 or 4 months too, so they don't really
meet
every month.
Personally, I've never heard.
Yeah,
heard of that one.
Of course, the city council, because there's nothing to talk about, went dark on Tuesday. So there is no meeting because.
So in theory, they've been dark. They've known they were going to be dark since the beginning of the year, right?
Yes.
Since they planned all these, they scheduled all the.
And by the way, as the mayor told us, he's able to call special meetings. So he could have said, looked at that agenda and says, you know what, we can't get to all this tonight. We're going to take the last 2 items and move them, and we'll come back next week.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Well,
I support that.
So, moving on later, actually the same time, because thank goodness there's no council meeting. So if you wanted to go to the council meeting and the Athletic Federation, who would meet at the same time on Tuesday.
You can head over to the Community Services Building.
Now it's just the Community
Services. You could spend the day at the Community Services Building.
Yep. Now it's
on
just,
Tuesday.
Just the Burbank Athletic Federation. They're the ones who are going to meet.
Burbank Athletic.
They're going to be having a report on the youth sports transgender athletic policy. They're going to talk a little about the what else they have here?
The Adaptive Sports Expo
update. Burbank. They're having an Adaptive Sports Expo in McCambridge Park in about a week or two. It's going to be a big thing where they, with all kinds of different sports, and it's going to be a neat event. So I think we're going to try to cover it. And
great. So a couple good topics they're going to be covering. Could be of interest to the listeners. That's 6 p.m. on what day?
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. Tomorrow.
Well, that
if you're listening to this tonight, it's tomorrow. The 6th.
Adaptive sports. I covered the one basketball when they introduced that one, and I'll tell you, there is a lot of people that are glued to live their life in a wheelchair, and they're competitive as hell. And I watch these guys play basketball.
So that's what this is. These are sports involving disabled folks or people with limitations and all that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's good. Good.
Moving on to Wednesday, the Burbank Cultural Arts Commission is going to meet once again. This time the subcommittee The marketing subcommittee will meet at 10 a.m. at the Community Services Building. They will discuss marketing plan for upcoming city and arts-related events. So I'm not sure what but so far that's the third meeting this week for the Burbank Cultural Arts Commission. Instead of doing everything on one day and going 6 or 7 hours.
Well, these are subcommittees, so in theory, these are different kind of panels of people.
Yes, they are
getting together, right? Handling the business of the
Civil Service Board is going to be at 4:30. They're going to talk about recruitment and appointments. And also on Wednesday, because we just have a lot of meetings on Wednesday coming up.
That was at City Hall, by the way, the Civil Service
That was
Board.
at City Hall.
4:30.
That one is a recorded meeting. That's a Brown Act meeting. And yes, it is recorded as required.
Is that open to the public?
Yeah, most of it is.
Okay.
But if you look at their agenda, this one
I didn't see a closed
might
session.
be pretty interesting.
I didn't see a closed session on this agenda.
No, not on the Civil Service Board.
Yeah.
Yeah, they talk about recruitment and appointments. That could be an interesting to listen to.
Is that streamed? Do we know?
No.
No. Okay, so you have to go in person if you wanted to sit in on the meeting.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm not sure what they do with that.
All righty.
Also,
I stumped the band.
Also on Wednesday, Domestic Violence Task Force meets at 5:30 in the Community Services Building. They're going to talk about financial literacy course for domestic violence survivors. So, basically talking about the Violence Task Force goals and objectives, and talk about frequency of meetings. So, once again, that's a good commission. I'm not sure how they help people. This one's talking about financial literacy, which helps people who've had domestic problems probably get their finances back together, and how they. Because I think one of the biggest things, especially for a wife who has to move out, who's maybe just a housewife and not an income earner. How is she going to survive?
Right,
and that's
it
big
could be
deal.
one or the other half of a couple. One may have done the finances for the last 20 years.
Yeah. So.
And everything's in their name or something like that.
Yeah.
Now that committee, I have been told, it has quite a few department staffers that attend. I know the PIO's office,
the police department,
has a representative there. No, PIO. The police department has a representative.
Well, you just said department, so I didn't know which one.
Yeah, I was gonna PIO, the police department, the fire department, Parks and Rec. They all have representatives, and then some of the things that the Domestic Violence Task Force has created on the back of all the city business cards for your council members have hotlines. So if they hand out a card to somebody that, domestic violence, if you need to make a call, that number's on that card. That's one of the things they do. And also give out leads where you can get help.
Great resource.
That's the best.
Great resource.
Well, because they've, I guess, filled up all the rooms everywhere else and have nowhere else to be because there's so many meetings the same day. The youth board is going to meet at 6 p.m. at the Jocelyn Center.
And this is still Wednesday the 7th.
Still Wednesday the 7th. Now, I can't
Busy day.
Why you'd have the youth board meeting at the senior citizens home, but that's...
Well, if you not home.
Well, senior citizen center. There you go.
Jocelyn is not a home.
I'm sure that there's not a lot in common.
That's where I'm putting both of you.
After, people play pool, socialize, get their lunch fed, served, and so forth at Jocelyn. The Jocelyn is a great center with a lot of meeting rooms. So no reason on not spreading it and taking them down there. But it's also, they might want to get the youth and some of our seniors, talking.
Not a bad idea.
Well, yeah, there's no senior things on their agenda. I kind of looked at that, so it's really not, their agenda is very, very vanilla as it is. Just more or less everybody talk about their own school.
And then there was Thursday.
Thursday happened, or will happen.
It's about to happen.
Well, Thursday is the big one for, once again, the Burbank Culture Arts Commission. They're going to have the whole commission meet this time at 9 a.m. Community Services Building.
All together?
And they're
Including all the subcommittees?
all the subcommittees are going to give a report on what they subcommitted. And
Is that a verb?
it is now.
Okay. If it whatever floats your boat, right?
They're
Everybody knows what you meant.
going to get an art program update from the new terminal and Johnny Carson Park. They're going to get an arts grant program update. They're going to talk about the recently held Downtown Arts Festival. And, of course, like I said the subcommittee reports. So they have a
Craig
full
Durling, you
agenda.
notice
Yes, sir.
that Downtown Art Festival, same group coming back in June or July.
That the
You enjoyed it last
the
time.
jackalope.
Yep.
Yeah, they come
Is that
every.
what they're talking
They come
about?
twice a year every year.
Uh-huh.
Well, Mr. Durling covered it for my Burbank.
I did
and
indeed.
a photo gallery for us, and enjoyed the time he was on the boulevard.
Well, that brings us
It's a good event up there.
later Thursday, in case you want to get some lunch, come back for another meeting, is the Park and Recreation Board will meet at 6 p.m. at City Hall. And they're going to talk about a couple things. Number one is the roller hockey rink. Is that what I just heard? Did I just hear that?
Roller? No.
No, not
Hockey? Hockey?
Hockey.
What could that mean? That horn.
Can I mean one thing? That's the key.
Hockey is the word of the week.
Word of the week for the Hill Street Cafe $25 gift card.
Aha. A good one to have.
Yes, a good one to have.
Good one to have.
So once again, send that email to contest@myburbank.com. Put in the subject line
Hockey?
and
It's
we'll
so funny
enter
on
the
my end. I
contest.
only get parts of it, but I can
You know
see
it's
the
playing.
reaction.
You know
looking
it's
at your
playing.
faces. Yes.
Excellent. So hockey. So put hockey in the
Yes.
in the subject line.
Put what is hockey line?
I believe it's hockey.
Oh, hockey. Anyhow,
There you go. There's the word of the week. If you stuck around this long, good for you. Congratulations and thank you for being here.
yes.
Now, if we can maybe reward you with a $25 gift card to Hill Street Cafe.
Yes.
You know what?
Send
that
I
email
think
in.
I'm going to interject here. If you're new in town and have found our podcasts and you haven't driven around the flatlands and the other areas of Burbank, Burbank's roller hockey rink is on Victory at
that's-
Ontario.
That's
and
right.
I'll tell you,
There was a larger
know-
point to this, wasn't there?
and I figured, well, I didn't need to say hockey again, but
Say what?
What'd you say?
that's right, hockey. But if people are wondering, they find our podcast and they find it useful, but they don't know where everything is. Now they know where to drive by. And my son lives about 2 blocks from there. You can hear the buzzard go off when there's goals. You can hear the adults playing. It's pretty active
Right.
over there.
And you can, if you're new to the town, you can go up to on Glen Oaks and find Hill Street Cafe
That's right.
while you're at it.
I found a little interesting that they're going that so far that the hockey rink every year pays $25,000 in rent to the city to use that location. But I also saw a report that it's mostly only now adult teams. They didn't have any youth teams still there, so it's mostly just adult teams using the hockey rink. They do have family nights and open days and all that where I get some kids come. But
Now, is the rink still open at Pickwick? The ice rink?
yes, oh yes,
Okay, I
Yes.
thought maybe
That's-
if
yeah,
that had closed with
yeah,
the bowling
that's
alley.
got another I think 10 years still on their lease.
Okay.
So, but I just thought that it'd be that it's too bad that they're not getting any any youth teams in there.
They need to
But,
they
Craig,
need to
it's
address
funny-
that at the youth board meeting.
Yeah,
The LA Kings has supported both of these facilities. They are the ones that are holding part of the contract at Pickwick Ice Rink, but the roller hockey rink, they also have signage there and have donated quite a bit of money to keep these youths, out active and so forth, and give them ideas of.
well, the problem
Right,
is
they need stuff to do in this
that-
town.
but there's no youth teams.
Well, mostly adult teams, it says. So there
Yeah, well, I
must
looked
be
no,
some.
on the report it had 0 for the adult
Oh.
for the youth.
I
So,
stand corrected.
actually, it had NAs. not applicable or something. I'm not sure, but had the
Yeah.
youth number or the
Not
adult
adult.
numbers.
Maybe it was not adult.
Yeah, not adult.
I see my old boss's name coming up in the rundown.
Yes.
But he doesn't have a small D and a small C.
No, it's not branded, but Dick Clark. Dick Clark has appeared in our rundown.
That's because the Dick Clark Dog Park is not a part of their design.
Say that 10 times
Yes,
fast.
there we go.
Dick Clark Dog Park.
The Park and Rec Board is going to talk about that. They want to have more public meetings and input on the design. They came up with 2 different designs for the dog park. I think one has parking in it. One does not have parking in it. You have to park on the street instead. They have 2 parks separated, one for small dogs, one for large dogs.
And this is going in on the other side of the freeway from Johnny Carson Park, correct?
Yeah, yes. This is
Okay.
Johnny Carson. This is between on Riverside Drive, between the bridge at Buena Vista, and halfway toward Bob Hope Drive
Okay.
on the north side.
That's considered Johnny Carson South.
So if you drive by there right now, all you see is a big fence around the area that LA Water and Power had used in part of their pumping construction and all that. And now that they've left, it becomes Burbank's. They're going to help pay for some of the money. And Dick Clark Productions, or his ex-wife, his former wife, since he passed away, is
Widow.
donating money
Carrie?
also.
Carrie Clark?
she has
Oh.
been very active
She's
on the
great.
subcommittee and a lover of dogs like he was. And the agreement was LA City needs to replace the same amount of trees, sprinklers, and do that. And then they had a donation of a large amount. I believe it was 125,000 from Dick Clark's, and that's why they named it. And they're kind of finalizing the plans. Hopefully, we'll see it in our lifetime.
Yeah, I think this a park like this would be really
Well,
popular.
they're saying
and I can vouch for the Clarks being dog fans because I used to see little Carrie, wrangling 4 dogs around the office every day.
They said that the park will be functional by the fall of 2024.
Well, it's just there's not a lot to do to make a dog park. I don't think.
Well, if you look at the plans, that's a lot of design that goes into it. I mean, a lot of trails and amenities and
Yeah, but nothing
fencing.
really to
If they have to
build
build
other than a fence or
if they have to build a parking lot, that's going to take a little, So we'll see.
tonight's trivia. Molly, Maybelline, Lucille, and Bernardo. Those were
Dick Clark's
Clark's
dogs.
four dogs. Yep. In,
Now,
I think we
in
need
order
to-
of height.
He had his offices over on all over around Fairview, right? Is that
3003 West Olive.
and the dogs would roam around in there?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Lucille, the Dalmatian, was a gift from Gloria Estefan, I believe, to them. And Lucille would go around the office. She was a vacuum cleaner. She would eat absolutely anything you left out. Molly and Maybelline were mother and daughter. And Bernardo was the little bitty mutt that's basically lived on the chair in Carrie's office. She was the little
Now
the little
there's
lap
some
dog.
trivia.
Yeah,
I
it's
tell you,
going
I'm
way
gonna
back.
take
I
it
can't. They're all gone now, I'm sure. But I spent a
I
lot of
think
time with
Craig,
those.
let's spend time with Dick Clark now.
We should assign Craig Durling when that groundbreaking is to cover that.
Oh, I'd love
And I
that.
bet you he would love to see Carrie, and I bet you a ton of Dick Clark employees.
But
Oh.
people stuck around. They were very loyal employees with that company. A lot of people stuck around for a long time to work with Dick and Carrie. So
Well, he's been good to Burbank. I know that
sure.
when he had offices here.
Oh, is that office?
Production
Is that
company.
still their offices there, or have they completely moved out?
No, that's gone. Once
Yeah.
he sold the company, it was bought, and they're down on Dick Clark Productions is down on Wilshire now.
Because I know they still do productions.
It's a different production company. It's Open Road Productions now, but I don't think it had anything to do with DCPI. And but if you want to see the old building, it was I think a former casket showroom.
Yes.
But if you go Olive past the Chick-fil-A, right there, Olive and Alameda,
Yeah.
you got the
It's around Fairview, I
you got
think.
the gas station right there. But the brick building across the street from the gas station, 3-story brick building with ivy all over it, that was Dick Clark Productions for many, many years.
and
well-
prior to that, it was a mortuary.
A casket showroom or more, yeah, something like that.
Well, also on Thursday, talking about.
What were we talking about?
Well, We're talking about dogs.
Speaking of dogs, dog house.
You know?
What a
Dog
segue.
house.
What a segue.
Yes.
Wow.
Oof, oof.
Well, we have a.
Ribbon cutting.
Oh, there we go. I
One of our favorite.
I couldn't find the button. There it is.
One of our favorite things. A ribbon cutting at the dog house.
The dog
The
house.
hot dog place, right?
Yeah, the dog house is 3019 Hollywood Way.
That's one I gave you the tour of.
So is this a new one, or are they replacing the one
this is a
that
new
used
one.
to be the Taco Bell on?
They're both open here in Burbank now.
Okay, so there's going to be this is a second one open.
And I will say this: when you drive in that parking lot, you can at least find the dog house. It's got a very nice neon sign, unlike Randy's Donuts that has a little banner hanging
Oh,
somewhere
poor
down a
Randy's.
hallway.
Poor Randy's. But the dog house on is it Olive?
Yeah.
Yes.
Olive and
Next
Olive
to
and
what
Kenwood.
used to be Lightning Dubs, but it was
Right.
prior to being the dog house. It was a Taco
Taco
Bell
Bell.
that did not have a drive-through.
right, always a problem.
Yep.
Always a problem. And right
Olive
there,
There's not a lot of
and-
parking there.
and then right down the street from that, where the
Kenwood.
been a block, there's been an empty lot forever. That was a KFC, but that's back in the day.
Back in the day. Do you have that Taco Bell on your list of restaurants that ain't no mo, Ross?
I definitely do.
Okay.
And the KFC.
I do.
There you go.
How do you spell that?
And how many KFCs? We had a couple.
We had a couple. Okay, so we got the one on Victory still there.
Yep.
We got the one on Olive, not there. And where was the third one?
Conspicuously not there.
If you recall, the one on Olive and the one next to Texaco, next to the mailbox place at Olive and what is that?
There-
Hang on, I'm looking on my list.
We need to revisit our cross streets going down Olive.
Wait a second.
Everything's on Olive. It's a busy street. I think we should shut it down
Yeah,
to just
I'm trying to think.
a bus lane and a bicycle
I
lane.
remember a KFC on Olive.
I have two here. I thought I had three.
So
I
we
think
had,
there was one uptown too,
not that I know
the
of.
other side of the hill.
Anywho, 4:30 p.m.
Yeah.
on Thursday the 8th.
And they're
ribbon cutting
I'm sure they'll give a free
at the dog house.
something or other here. So go by and pick up something.
They might have
They
some.
have
They're
been
going to have some
very-
freebies.
What's the word I'm looking for? The whole month they have offered. I've seen almost every organization have a meal that a gift night or a night there. I know Rotary did. I know some Burbank High teams did, and I believe they were offering 20% back to whatever organization.
Have you ever seen the menu at the doghouse? It's quite a menu. They actually they have a whole bunch of different stuff there. That's all got chili on it, and cheese, and all kinds
I
of.
still say this though: if you'd like to donate to one of those organizations, instead of going to spending $20 somewhere, or they only get $2 or $4, give them $10, give them $20 right to the organization.
Go right to the organization.
Right to they can use that a whole lot more than the $2 or $4 they make off your.
Every little bit helps. We'll put it in the every
little bit helps thing,
category.
absolutely.
All right.
Well, you know what that leaves us for? Only one thing left to
I
talk
don't know.
about
There
tonight.
might be a couple of new additions to this category
Yeah,
tonight.
well.
I don't know, but I can't wait to find out
Well,
with everybody else.
It's time for.
Ross's rant. Ross's rant. Ross's rant.
I'd take a flamethrower to this place.
Me. What's up, Doc?
I love that.
Now I
So
could
good.
hear that one.
That's because it's 10 minutes long.
Oh. And I heard, "What's up, Doc?" Well, I ain't no doc, but I got a rant. Actually, it's not a real complaint rant. I was just noticing I have been home and watching, like everybody, report after report, news report about this and everything, and watching houses slide down hills, water, mud flows and everything. I wonder how many people here in Burbank know about readyburbank.org, where you can sign up and you can go online, and even if you got sandbags from Burbank or anywhere, there's a diagram, the proper way to put your sandbags so they're useful. People think that the sandbags
What a novel idea.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And I mean, if you put them the right way, the sandbags are to divert water. You know, a lot of people put them in their garage along the garage door.
You got to give the
and so
water
forth.
somewhere to go.
Exactly.
You're
So
channeling the water. You're not just damming it up.
you can go online and readyburbank.org. It's not .com. I know I text the mayor today. Why aren't they publicizing that? And he did a PSA on his own TikTok and so forth, that Burbank is pretty well prepared. And then the other thing, I have a friend that took sick yesterday, and I said, give me your neighbor's, give me your neighbor's.
We lost your audio,
Oh.
Ross.
Wait. Did you hit a button?
We can see you. We don't hear you.
Well, we have a bug in the system here.
How fast can you write? Can you write it down on a piece of paper and hold it up to the camera? I think I'm going to predict, see if we can get you back. But because you told me the story earlier that if you wanted to get your friend's neighbor's phone number, so if there was an emergency, he had an emergency or something like that, you could communicate with his neighbor, right? Who may also have access to his house if he is away for a bit. Just nod in the affirmative if I'm right. Or close. Pretty good? But that's another thing, and we talk about National Night Out a lot. It's a chance to get to know your neighbors. And these days, you may not know your neighbor to the left and right or across from you, but get to know them, exchange phone numbers, so if something does happen, and if they have keys, they can get in and turn, a pipe off or something if it's flooding, or get access if somebody's fallen down in the house. But a good lesson, and that National Night Out is a good reason to do that. But get to know your neighbors. You can help each other out. Watch out for each other.
And what did we learn tonight? That for some reason, when Ross's rant went off,
Apparently, you're only allowed one rant tonight, Ross.
One part of a rant.
They cut you off after the first rant, but we still see you, but we don't hear him. We don't have Ross's audio.
Yeah, we don't know what the technology.
Well, lucky for us though, it was the end of the show. Yeah.
So, okay.
So you just wave goodbye, Ross. There he is. There he is. Since we don't have your sound back, it's a perfect. I guess we can go ahead and. It's a good time to finish up.
Yeah. Well, that's it for the week that was and the week that will be.
That's right.
For Craig Durling.
Good night, everybody.
And the silent Ross Benson.
There he goes.
This is Craig Sherwood saying we will talk to you again next week.
Good night, everybody. My Burbank Talks would like to thank all of My Burbank's advertisers for their continued support. Burbank Water and Power, Cusimano Real Estate Group, UME Credit Union, Burbank Chamber of Commerce, Gain Credit Union, Providence St. Joseph Medical Center, Community Chevrolet, Media City Credit Union, UCLA Health, Tequila's Burbank, Logix Credit Union, Hill Street Cafe, Bertain Escobar Wealth Management, and the UPS Store on 3rd Street.